We have arrived. 10,000 years in the void. We left behind everything we knew. Our world, our people, our past. Cryosleep has kept us preserved, but the universe has moved on without us. What does Earth become? Does it even remember us, or exist at all? Here in the Almagest system, we stand alone. It is up to us to decide if the sacrifice was worth it.
Oh, don't mind me, I'm just watching the trailer for the new Space Engineers game. It can't be a new game, you say? Well, what if I told you the CEO of Keen Software House tweeted out that they've released a narrative trailer for their new game, and then proceeded to quote tweet said trailer? Really makes you think. And if this is a new game, and not Space Engineers, perhaps it could be a sequel of sorts, a Space Engineers 2. Oh no, but that would be speculation. We can't have speculation in these videos. These videos must be cold, hard facts. We must say exactly what we see. So anyway, on the side of the suit, there's this The teaser begins with this ship flying across the screen, which is very clearly a colony ship, but we'll come back to that later because we get to see it in better detail. If we go into the bottom left, we can see that it says the Bering Project. I'm sure someone's going to tell me I've said that wrong. Humanity's greatest journey. 10,000 years in cryosleep. The first wave. We spoke about this a lot in the last video, but if we add what's written here to the previous teaser about the Almagest system, we know that we're also 10,000 light years away from Earth, and it's almost 10,000 years in the future. So it seems likely that we have travelled at just below light speed, with everyone on board this ship in cryosleep, to get to this Almagest system, which is a very long way away from Earth. It'll be interesting to see how much of this new narrative makes its way into the game, because Marek Rosa, the CEO of Keen Software House, developers of Space Engineers, has been talking a lot about this new narrative and lore that has been shown in these teasers. So it'll be interesting to see to what degree this actually affects the game, or if this is just a backdrop to the game to explain why we're in a new solar system. This is normally the part of the video where I talk about potential things that could be in this solar system as we're the first wave, like potentially someone got here before us. But no, speculation is banned. The speculation police will not allow me. So anyway, does the first wave at the bottom imply that there'll be more colony ships following our one? And is there multiple colony ships, as a wave implies that a couple of ships have arrived? And also, is there any implication behind the Bering Project? The Bering Sea is the bit of the ocean between Russia and Alaska, so maybe that has some implications, but there's not really much to go on here. If we move on to the next shot of the teaser, we can see this colony ship in its full glory, and wow, it looks beautiful. I know one of the complaints on the last teaser is that they showed remakes of the blue ship and the red ship, and because of that they couldn't get really inventive with the new block system. But here they've gone all out and oh, it looks good, doesn't it? I really like this ring section here. It looks quite cool, doesn't it? It's the kind of thing you get on a ship to spin around to generate artificial gravity. Next to the ring you can see these yellow blocks here, and these are very clearly cargo containers, aren't they? They've got a completely new design, which I think is much better than both the cargo containers we have currently in the game. They're like simultaneously more rounded and more square at the same time. It's a bit difficult to describe, but still, they look awesome. On the ring, we've got these new solar panels. They seem to have a bit of scaffolding behind them, so they're more like the new colorable solar panels that were added recently, rather than the solar panels we've had in the game for years. I'll be honest, I much prefer the colorable solar panels to the base ones, so I approve of this change. We looked at this on the last teaser, but I'm pretty sure that this here is a new antenna. This is actually a much clearer look at it than we got before, and yeah, I'm still pretty convinced. I don't see what else this can be. We already saw these new thrusters in the last teaser, so I won't dwell on them for too long. And I'm sure there's lots of other blocks on here that I didn't spot, so let me know if you do see them. However, I want to draw your attention to this up here. On both the side of the ship and on the ring up here, it has some text made out of some very small blocks. If you don't know, in this new game, small grid and large grid are being merged into one, and they're adding an even smaller set of blocks that you can place as well, and these letters are made out of these blocks. But what I want to draw your attention to is what these blocks say. It says Napier, or at least that's what Google Translate told me it said. Now, I would assume that Napier is the name of this ship, and like the Bering Strait, I don't know how much significance that has. Napier is an ancient Iranian goddess of the moon, so there could be a moon in this new game? I don't know. It's just interesting. A lot of these things they place in these teasers are there for a reason, so is there a reason behind this? I don't know, and I'm not allowed to speculate. Speculation is banned. So anyway, in this next shot, there's these two engineers, and they have a... oh wait, it's the wrong side. The first thing I want to mention on this shot is that it looks really cool when the ship flies in front of the sun. The lighting in this new game is just so good. It just makes everything look 10 times better. And trust me, I need it to look 10 times better because my building skills have still not improved in the past 10 years. If you come back to those engineers that I looked at a second ago, you can see that unlike all the other engineers you've seen so far, that they are not blue. So there is 2 engineers down here, Space Engineers 2 confirmed, and one of them is green and one of them is red. And do you know what else is red? These like and subscribe. Shut up, Darrow. Like and subscribe is also banned, just like speculation is. Okay. So there's these 2 engineers, and like I said in the last video, I was pretty sure that these helmets would be transparent. And they are. No need to speculate anymore. This is a fact. Please don't shoot me. And it appears our engineer has lost the beard. Maybe being frozen for 10,000 years makes you lose your beard? I don't know. It's kind of the hallmark of space engineers that you have a beard, isn't it? Unless you're a woman, then you don't have a beard. Maybe that'll be a feature in this new Space Engineers. Okay, I'm not speculating, please don't shoot me. This is the first time we've got to look at the front of these suits, and yeah, they're pretty good. Let's be honest, the more I see of these new engineers, the more I'm like, yeah, this is way better than what we have currently. It's not even a question. Like, the helmets are just way better than the opaque visors we had in the old one. Although I do hope that you can customize your faces, because whilst having the transparent visors is cool, it's going to be a bit weird that you can see everyone's face and they all look the same. To the left of the 2 engineers, we have what I'm going to say is a fighter. That's not speculation, I'm pretty sure this on the front is a Gatling gun. You can see all the individual barrels, so I'm pretty confident to say it is. We also get our first look at these smaller ion thrusters in the game. Not small grid, remember there is no small grid as the 2 grid sizes have been merged together. These are just smaller thrusters for smaller ships. Unlike the large thrusters that look very different to the ion thrusters that are currently in Space Engineers, these look very similar to the ion thrusters that are currently in the game, a bet with a bit of a shinier texture. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, these still look better than the ones in the game. It's just interesting to note that they've stuck more similarly to the current Space Engineers with these ones. And speaking of things that look similar to the current Space Engineers, the cockpit also looks very similar. It's got a couple of different details, but for the most part it's the same. We also have our first look at what appears to be a small grid antenna as well, looking very similar to the compact antenna added recently to the game. And also there's landing gears, but these look almost exactly the same as the ones in current Space Engineers. In the next shot in this teaser, we get what appears to be a shot from the big red ship's cockpit. This here definitely appears to be a control station or flight seat, but it looks very, very different to them. It looks similar to the control seat, but there's so much extra detail on it. These little screens up here are on the control seat. There's always this disparity between blocks added a long time ago in Space Engineers compared to the blocks added recently. The cargo container is an example of that. The old one doesn't look great, but the industrial variant looks much better. And the control station and the flight seat are 2 of those blocks that look a bit out of place in current Space Engineers. So if this is the kind of thing they're going for in the new game, I am very excited. I can't wait to see what else is coming. To the left of this control seat, there's some red buttons. And you know what else is a red button? He's not here. The like and subscribe. These new buttons appear to be using the new grid system. It appears that there's some blocks placed down here, and then these buttons are placed on top of it. So this appears to be another good example of the new grid system. The current buttons, when you place them, take up a full block space, so this only taking up a couple of small block space. Oh, it's going to be so good. The next part of the teaser shows a small ship flying through a larger ship, and because of this we get a close-up of a lot of different blocks. For starters, we get a really close look at the new ion thrusters, and these look different to the thrusters we saw on the fighter earlier. You can see that the tips of these thrusters is a full circle, but on these thrusters they have a little notch out of them. So potentially there's 3 different sizes of thruster. There's a 1 block size, there's a 2x2 size, which is what these appear to be, maybe, potentially. And then there's an even larger size of thruster here. If small grid and large grid are merged together, it would make sense that there's probably at least 4 different sizes of thrusters, because you have the 2 large grid versions, and you have the 2 small grid versions, so that makes 4. And if you can build even smaller, potentially there's 2 even smaller variants as well, so 6 different variants of all the different types of thrusters. It'll be interesting to see. On the left, you can see this block here, and at the top of it, it says gyroscope. So, this is a gyroscope, and it looks completely different to what we expect from a gyroscope. The current gyroscope is this kind of ball thing that attaches on a single side, but this is a full block with what appears to be a glass window in it. I would assume that this glass window shows something like the prototype gyroscope, and there's a little orb spinning around in here. Bit of a speculation for you there. But regardless, having a full block gyroscope as the base gyroscope is very interesting. There's a block to the left of it, which I'm not really sure what it is. It's got some text on it, but it's so small that you can't really read it, even with this 4K video. So, I don't know. It looks kind of like the action relay, but I wouldn't imagine it's that. I would imagine it's more of a fundamental block to the game. I tell you what, why don't you guys let me know what you think it is? If you come over to the right side, we can see an assembler. Now, I know what you're thinking, how do you know this is an assembler? You can't just say that based on how it looks. It says the word assembler here. I'm pretty sure it definitely is one. What's interesting about this assembler, you can see at the top it has 2 icons, one for energy and one that appears to be some sort of like overclocking symbol. Okay, there's no one here. I would assume that these are to do with upgrade modules, as upgrade modules can be used to decrease the power usage of an assembler or to make them go faster. so it makes sense that these would have something to do with upgrade modules, but it's unclear what they actually are. Are these lights to indicate a upgrade module is connected, or do you plug an upgrade module into this part? Or is this part on top of the assembler already an upgrade module? It does say warning high voltage power supply up here, so potentially? To the left and the right of this assembler, we can see cargo containers. Two large, I was going to say large grid, but there is no large grid, almost got me. Two large cargo containers, and there appears to be two smaller cargo containers over here. These aren't actually that small relatively, so I'm guessing like the thrusters, there's probably a bunch of different sizes of cargo containers. At least 2 for what was the large grid size, and at least 3 I guess for what was the small grid size. Now it's very dark in the next shot of the teaser, but we can very clearly see what appears to be 3 mining ships, and on the front of them appears to be drills. And these drills look fantastic. Oh my. They look so much better than the drills we currently have in the game. Until recently, I never realised what we're missing out on with the drill until the Prototech drill was added, and it was an absolute monster. And these, oh, they just take the cake. They're so good. I wish we could get a nice shot of them in the light. The best we get is on this mining ship down here, but the drills are cut off at the bottom of the frame. So sad, so sad. There's a bunch of other interesting blocks on this mining ship. We can see this weird like panel on the side. I'm really curious of what this is supposed to be. It doesn't look like it's anything functional. It's probably just something decorative, but it's just a weird shape, isn't it? Maybe it's made out of panels or something. Whilst the ships are mining, we see an engineer fly through the same asteroid they're mining in, and we can see that the jetpack thruster goes red. And this was confirmed by Marek Grosser, who we mentioned earlier is the CEO of Keen Software House, to be some sort of boost system for the jetpack. I don't know what you'd necessarily need it for, but I can tell you, I'm going to be boosting around all the time. I am Barry Allen, the fastest jetpacker alive. Why exactly are we going to need a boost system for the jetpack though? Maybe it's got something to do with the new speed limit? Very interesting indeed. But speaking of things that are really interesting, on the engineer's right leg there is this cable, and I'm pretty sure the next shot of this teaser is this beautiful shot where the engineer is standing on an asteroid by a base. You can see the sun shining through the asteroid, and it really makes me appreciate just how good this new game looks. This shot gives you a really good look at the new asteroid textures that were shown off in a recent teaser, and they still look fantastic. I never thought I'd be this interested in looking at an asteroid before. Also, speaking of things that I'm interested in looking at, this engineer has a cable on his right. In the next shot of the teaser, we see a bunch of engineers rolling out, and you can see on all of their right here. Enough, I've returned. Yes, I'm sorry. We'll get back on track. You can see that the squad is rolling out, following this ship along the runway. He has the gun to my head, but I'm telling you, in a non-speculative way, that I'm pretty sure that all these engineers together is supposed to be some indication about multiplayer being improved. We know that one of the big focuses of this new game is improved multiplayer stability and performance, so having all these engineers together is probably a big example of that. Up here, we can see what is definitely a refinery, and you're probably thinking, well, how do you know that? You can't just guess that from how it looks. It says refinery here, please. Interestingly again, at the top of the refinery, you have this power icon and this overclocking icon, so I'm definitely leaning to these having something to do with upgrade modules. One thing to point out about these being upgrade modules is that refineries support 3 upgrade modules, with the third kind being the yield module, and there's no icon here related to that. So potentially these mean something else? Maybe it's something to do with them having power and then being active? I don't know. It's interesting that they have these icons, but speculating on what they mean is difficult with what we have in this teaser. Wait, this isn't speculation. This is talking about the idea of speculating. Isn't that just speculating about speculating? And as we have the refinery, to the right you can also see that we have the assembler, with the window at the front and then the control panel is here, and it has the same connectors on it as the other one. Over here we have some large grid landing gears, which we saw a really blurred out version in the last teaser, and as I said in that one, they look a lot different from the current landing gears in the game, looking much better than the current ones we have. But it's interesting they're using landing gear here and not magnetic plates, but that could be because this game is an alpha and they haven't implemented the magnetic plates. Or it could mean something. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to speculate. Anyway, over here you can see the G-Mans hiding out in the background. The last shot in the teaser shows a lot, and I mean a lot, of engineers coming out of the side of the colony ship shown at the beginning of the teaser. And again, I think showing all these engineers together is definitely supposed to represent the focus on multiplayer in this new game. And unfortunately, they're facing the wrong way for me to see if they've got a cable on their side or not. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. You can see a bunch of other blocks on here that are new, like this new ramp over here, and I'm sure there's probably some other blocks in this teaser that I've missed, so if you spot any, let me know in the comment below. It's also worth mentioning that we get an even better look at the Napier sign on the side of the colony ship. Again, not sure if this means anything, but it's still very interesting that this ship has a direct name. Maybe we'll find out more in the future, and maybe that won't be too far away. The final transmission, December 10th, 2024. Will this be a reveal of whatever they are teasing? A Space Engineers 2? You know, because there's 2 engineers? Or will this be another teaser of a teaser of another teaser of a teaser? An announcement of another announcement? Let's be honest, it's probably that, but we'll find out on December the 10th. Regardless of what it is, don't worry, I will tell you exactly what we find out. So, if you want to keep up to date with this new game, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel, because trust me, I am definitely going to cover it and go into excruciating detail about what the cable is on the right hip of the engineer. One day, guys, one day we'll find out what it is. And when that day comes, I'm either going to be really smug or really stupid. But I'm pretty sure that's what you guys are here for, right? A special thanks to Clone, Briarrose, Tarantula Fudge, Summit, The Wildcat, The Whiskman, Splurgeburger, Penguin, Taurus 1834, and Banu. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button.